Morning, my name is Josh from CyclonesOZ, and here's your detailed forecast update nationwide for April 23rd, 2025. A lot to get through today. We're going to start things off up in the north, where we do have rainfall streaming in through to the Cassowary coast, and we've got that tropical low situated north of the Northern Territory. Plenty more rainfall still to come, though. It's going to be a very wet start to May up in the far north reaches of Queensland, with up to 500 millimetres on the cards, and I'll get to that in just a few moments. But first, that tropical low situated just the north of the Northern Territory. It's still kicking, it's still spinning around, and believe it or not, this system's going to be with us for a long time still to come, at least another week and potentially up to about 15 more days until this system finally kicks the bucket. It's going to last into May by the looks of things, at least on the forecast modelling right now. There's not an awful lot to talk about it right now. There's a few showers and thunderstorms bubbling up around its centre, some showers streaming into the northern parts of the Northern Territory, and there are a few heavier showers moving into Far North Queensland's Cape York Peninsula around Weipa and Urichin this morning, and a couple of heavy showers moving around the Torres Strait Islands and around Thursday Island. But apart from that, there's really nothing to be talking about. This system here is not a strong tropical low at all. It is just one that's going to be kicking around for quite a while. Let's talk about the long-range future for this system here. It's expected to continue heading north throughout the remainder of today into the Indonesian waters before it bounces around through Thursday and into Friday, and then down towards the Northern Territory again through Friday and into Saturday. And it could drag a little bit more rainfall coming into the Northern Territory through Friday, Saturday, and then in towards Sunday as well, with some isolated to widespread heavy showers expected through this weekend and into next Monday across the northern parts of the Northern Territory. Through next week, Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday, it's going to move over Timor and then into the Indonesian waters again, or into the Indonesian archipelago again. This forecast model has it pretty much dying out as it moves over Timor, which is expected, but it'll still last into about the 1st or the 2nd of May. The GFS forecast model keeps it going a little bit further south, and it has got a decent chance of tropical cyclone status south of Timor if it does head away from the island, then moving across towards Indonesia and then eventually Bali by around the 5th or the 6th of May at this point in time. And you can still see the low pressure system kicking right out to the very end of the forecast period here on the 7th of May, over 2 weeks away south of Java. A highly unlikely scenario, considering if it has this much interaction with the Indonesian islands, it is likely to suffer quite substantially. But at this point in time, I don't see any reason why it's not going to kick around for at least another week or so. So we're definitely going to have this tropical low with us until at least the 28th or the 29th of May, and probably quite a lot longer than that at this point in time. Plenty of rainfall also expected across the Northern Territory, especially through this long weekend starting Friday out to about Monday and Tuesday. We're going to be seeing rainfall accumulations up to the 150 millimetre point across Melville and Bathurst Islands, and isolated spot falls up to 250 millimetres possible into the extreme northern parts of the Northern Territory. Widespread falls between 25 and 75 millimetres expected across Arnhem Land, with up to 50 millimetres expected around Darwin. Rainfall will be very light as you get further south of Katherine. Nothing really expected in the way of showers or thunderstorms there. You can see rainfall accumulations for the next week or so. Nothing really to write home about until about Wednesday night, when they do really begin to pipe up across the northern parts of Queensland. We do have some good rainfall, of course, and that's expected at this time of the year for the Cape York Peninsula, but as we get much later on into the forecast period, the rainfall accumulations really pile on into the first week of May. Let's talk about that right now. Some significant falls can be expected. Some showers still streaming ashore right now from the trade winds that are blowing up from the southeast, and we can be expecting that for the next week or so, on and off intermittent showery days mixed with some sunnier weather throughout the next 7 or 8 days or so. Temperatures are remaining rather warm across Far North Queensland, averaging at around 28 to 30 degrees during the day, and the humidity is still there, so it definitely feels like something tropical. Let me know how the weather is feeling up in Far North Queensland as well, because I imagine it is still feeling really tropical across some of these locations, and that humidity is still causing a lot of problems up there, a lot of discomfort, that's for sure. The rainfall, like I said, not expected to pipe up until about Wednesday, so let's talk about that right now. We're expecting a weak low pressure system. I'm not sure if it's going to be a full-blown tropical low or just a broad monsoonal low pressure system to develop south of Port Moresby and Papua New Guinea, and that's going to begin to drive rainfall out of the southeast, which is going to come off the Coral Sea and then move up in towards the Cassowary coast and across Far North Queensland just in general. The rainfall is expected to pipe up from Wednesday night. We're still not 100% sure on the timing and the exact whereabouts and where the rainfall is expected to pipe up, but expecting the chance of some heavy showers from the Wednesday, the 30th of April in the evening onwards from there. Heavy rainfall will continue pretty much for the foreseeable future. Beyond that forecast, you can see intermittent periods of heavy showers, especially through the 1st out to the 3rd of May, a couple of days of dry weather through the 4th and the 5th, and then the wet weather continues again through the 5th and the 6th, and then it looks like rainfall might begin to ease off there at around the 7th. I do reckon that the rainfall will persist for a little bit longer up in Far North Queensland. Just extrapolating what I can see on this forecast here, either the rainfall will ease off pretty soon after the 8th or the 9th, or it could continue right out to about the 11th or the 12th. At this point in time, it definitely looks like the first week of May is going to be very wet up in Far North Queensland, much wetter than average and probably a little bit on the unusual side for this time of the year. Wet weather beyond that, still a little bit uncertain, but at this point in time, I'm not writing off wet weather into the second week of May either for Far North Queensland. Again, we're still a little bit uncertain in the specifics and the details. I do reckon that this weather event is going to have two sides to it. There's going to be that first phase that comes through starting Wednesday night out to about Friday or Saturday, where those heavy showers are going to be very frequent up in Far North Queensland, and heavy rainfall is expected, especially through Thursday and Friday the 1st and the 2nd of May. And then beyond that, still a little bit uncertain. Looks like a little bit of rainfall will come in on the backside of this low pressure system between the 3rd and the 5th of May, likely not as heavy. That's pretty general up in Far North Queensland. We generally get, when we see wet weeks, rainfall events coming through on certain days. So whilst it is just generally speaking going to be a wet week up there, we often see rainfall coming through heavier than usual on some days, and then other days might be reasonably dry up in Far North Queensland. This is 7-day rainfall accumulations right now for Far North Queensland, starting on the 30th of April right out to about the 7th of May. So this isn't including the potential wet second week of May, but you can see rainfall numbers really starting to build across Far North Queensland on the long range forecast. Widespread falls extending between Hopevale and Cooktown right down towards Cardwell and the Hinchbrook Island area of at least 200 millimetres pretty much expected widespread between this time frame, with isolated spot falls up to 500 millimetres now in the cards here. The wettest falls around the Caspro Coast north of Innisfail around Fishery Falls, and then into the Daintree rainforest as well north of Port Douglas, where rainfall accumulations could be as high as 600 or 700 millimetres in this week of rainfall. That's stock standard stuff for rainfall weeks up in Far North Queensland. Don't get me wrong, it's still very heavy and can cause some problems, and these rainfall events do often cause some flooding concerns and problems up in Far North Queensland, but this is again nothing out of the ordinary. This time of the year we certainly don't see these weather events as common and as frequent as we do see these kind of events firing up in January or February or March, but still certainly it does happen at least once a year or a couple of times every few years. We do see a weather event like this, so it's nothing out of the ordinary, and this rainfall here is nothing to do with anything strange or anything mysterious happening up in Far North Queensland. It's not tropical low focused, it's not tropical cyclone focused, it's just typical sea breeze or trade wind showers coming out of the southeast moving up and towards the Cassowary Coast. That does create a few interesting things on the forecast, of course, with the Daintree rainforest and the Cassowary Coast between the Yarra Peninsula down to Tully expected to be the runaway wettest locations. But if we do see these showers come out of the southeast, it looks like the Yarra Peninsula might actually block Cairns from seeing the worst of the rainfall accumulations there, and that's why at least on this forecast here Cairns has only 190 millimetres coming through into it, and even that I do believe is a bit of a bullish number at this point in time. You know the drill up in Far North Queensland. Showers don't really penetrate too far inland, so communities such as Atherton, Mareeba and Ravenshoe not expecting too much in the way of rainfall as well. And then even up further north out towards Mount Carbine and Laura, rainfall accumulations there, whilst they could get into the triple figure mark, they're not expected to be too heavy at all. And the one difference that sets this apart from a typical mid-wet season rainfall event to a much later on in the wet season, even tickling towards the dry season weather event, is the fact that this rainfall isn't penetrating far south. Typically when we see rainfall events like this, we do get residual showers streaming down into the Ingham and the Cardwell area, or even down towards Townsville, Eyre, Bowen and along the North Queensland coastline, even as far down as Mackay. But on this forecast here, we're not seeing any suggestions of heavy rainfall south of Tully, with rainfall accumulations around Cardwell and Ingham not even above 50 millimetres for the most part, and rainfall accumulations just a couple of light showers expected here and there, leading to falls of around 10 to 25 millimetres for Townsville, Eyre, and that's the same down towards the Whitsundays, Bowen, Proserpine, Mackay. Those locations there, seldom falls above 50 millimetres can be expected, with widespread falls between 10 and 40 millimetres being the norm there for the week between the 30th of April out to about the 6th or the 7th of May. That's the one key difference that sets this apart from a mid-wet season weather event to a much later on in the wet season weather event. Again, it is still a long way out, but I do reckon those up in Far North Queensland certainly should plan their week or next week, especially after Wednesday, around the approaching wet weather. If you do live in an area that's prone to being cut off, especially after one of the wettest wet seasons on record up in Far North Queensland, it's not going to take too much to flood those rivers once again. I'd recommend getting a few supplies sorted out throughout the remainder of this week as well. Get to the shops today or tomorrow and get about a week's worth of food supplies or non-perishable goods that you can have in store just in case you do get cut off from this rainfall. But I'm only talking now to the most prone communities to being flooded or being cut off here. This rainfall is not expected to be problematic, but again, with a weather event like this, rainfall accumulations between 500 to 1,000 millimetres cannot be ruled out, and 1,000 millimetres can cause some significant problems in some of these communities, even though that we are talking about Far North Queensland. But I would like everybody to keep in mind that 1,000 millimetres is the absolute worst case scenario at this point in time, and I'm not even making mention of it at the start of the forecast because it is so unlikely to happen. I'll have further updates on this, so be twice daily forecast updates, I imagine, through next week, especially considering this rainfall event will be looming at that point. But I reckon through this weekend, check back in with me on Saturday and Sunday. I'll be able to give you some exact specific numbers for certain locations and what we can expect at what times for some of these locations. A little bit of wet weather looming for Far North Queensland, though. That's nothing out of the ordinary. So again, I don't want to be inciting panic or fear among the Queensland locals. It is just some exciting wet weather to be happening on the forecast. You can see it looks like, generally speaking, the weather forecast for Australia is going to turn tropical dry over in the west and down into the south as well as we get out towards later next week. That's going to lead to a couple of showers and thunderstorms across southeast Queensland and into the northeast of New South Wales, but that's not before more showers and thunderstorms continue to pile onto the New South Wales coastline through today. Now, today is expected to be the last day of that solid wet weather for the southeast corner of New South Wales, and it's going to clear out by later this afternoon and move up in towards the northeast of New South Wales. We do have that low pressure system situated offshore from Coffs Harbour this morning, but it's a very elongated low pressure with the centre of the low pressure actually extending up in towards southeastern Queensland and then as far south as Sydney, and that's driving in showers across from the east and the southeast into the southeastern corner of New South Wales. And we have had some very healthy rainfall accumulations across New South Wales last night once again. Widespread falls between 40 and 80 millimetres extending north of Narooma up through Ulladulla and through Wollongong, and some heavy showers still moving through into the Jervis Bay area this morning. Very heavy falls into some of these showers as well. Thundery showers moving through with rain rates up to about 90 millimetres an hour, and some good falls also extending inland from Bateman's Bay and out towards Araluen, and then Braidwood, Narrega, Captain's Flat, those locations really copping some good showers this morning, and they're expected to continue throughout the remainder of this morning. Again, I did say this yesterday and also on Monday, but the rainfall not penetrating inland either, so communities much further inland such as Goulburn, Canberra, and even down in towards the Kosciuszko area, Cooma, those sort of areas, they're not expecting anything in the way of significant rainfall, and today it also looks like Sydney is going to be out of the mix of things for the chances of heavy rainfall. These showers and thunderstorms will ease off throughout the remainder of this morning and pretty much clear out completely by this afternoon and evening. There still will be a few showers here and there, but it's going to make way for a rather cool night by the looks of things, especially for locations further inland. This low pressure system is expected to continue to weaken off throughout the remainder of tonight, but we are still seeing a couple of heavy showers on the forecast through tonight into early tomorrow morning, persisting through tomorrow morning, leading to a bit of a thunderstorm outbreak by tomorrow evening across southeast Queensland and into northeast New South Wales. And this is something that I really want to talk about as well, and I feel like this is going to take a lot of people off guard in southeast Queensland. We do see this happen on the forecast every now and then, and I really forget what it is. I should have done my research before, but there was an event like this, though, an exact same setup that we had like this. I think it was either in December last year for southeast Queensland, where we had these showers coming in off the coast, and it was driven by a concentrated low pressure system and just a bit of a convergent zone that came in towards southeast Queensland, and there were some places that picked up 150 millimetres overnight. Yeah, it was over in November last year, because I remember I was over in the Gold Coast and I was thinking, well, we didn't get any rain down on the Gold Coast at this point in time, but those up in northern Queensland got about 170 millimetres, and I believe it was either the 18th or the 19th of November. So if you think back to that, we've got a very similar setup to that at this point in time, and we could be seeing some very significant rainfall accumulations tomorrow night and into early Friday morning across the southeast of Queensland. It'll be short and sharp, so these rainfalls, showers along the convergence zone could be pretty much all but gone by early Friday morning, and it could actually clear out to a bit of a sunny evening on Friday, Anzac Day, and then into the weekend as well. The showers and storms clearing out pretty much completely, but I really want people across Brisbane and into flood-prone areas to keep this in the back of your head that there is some significant rainfall possibilities on the cards now through Thursday night and into Friday. So tomorrow night into Friday morning, there is a good chance of some really significant rainfall accumulations building across southeast Queensland. They could completely bust out, but again, I'd much rather err on the side of caution here and say that accumulations could be widespread between 50 up to 150 millimetres through tomorrow night and into Friday morning. And I'd much rather be wrong on that than say that we had no rainfall coming through on the forecast and then 150 millimetres fell. So again, I'm erring on the side of caution here and saying what is the absolute worst case scenario, and you can take from that what you would like to take from it. Rainfall is expected to be heavy between Maroochydore down through the Brisbane metro area, especially through the northern suburbs around Redcliffe. I find that they tend to absolutely cop it here and then from showers coming through on that convergent zone out of the east. Heavy rainfall could be persisting down into the Gold Coast through showers as well. Into the northeast of New South Wales, heavy showers as well, streaming into the Lismore area and into the Cape Byron area as well, and around Murray-Willumbah as well. Heavy rainfall could be persisting right out towards early Friday morning, but again, rainfall clearing out through Friday by the looks of things, and then it looks like it'll pipe up again as we get much later on into the forecast period. Another low pressure pressure system throughout the first week of May could be providing a couple of sea breeze showers to the southeast of Queensland and even in towards central Queensland as well. But again, that's looking a little bit too long range for my liking at this point in time, so I will check back on that in a couple of days in a future forecast update. Interesting stuff, and for southeast Queensland, really make sure you take this forecast quite seriously. That rainfall could be quite heavy and it's likely to catch a lot of people off guard. It is going to be coming through in showers as well, so I need to stress this, that some places will pick up big time rainfall accumulations and others will miss out completely. It's just out there for the weather gods to decide at this point in time, but I do strongly advise people to pay very close attention to the radar imagery through tomorrow night and into early Friday morning. Some very heavy rainfall could be on the cards across southeast Queensland. Widespread showers and thunderstorms extending across the southwest of Western Australia. Really getting my geography scrambled by the looks of things straight away for my home, for my neck of the woods. We have had some good showers and thunderstorms into the southern parts of the wheat belt, especially through the western half of the wheat belt as well overnight. Some good showers still moving through those locations. They're not accompanied by any thunderstorms this morning though. Looks like some good showers still moving through into the Perth area as well, or about to move into the Perth area in the next hour or so. They're moving through quite quickly, so rainfall accumulations haven't been anything special across the Perth metro area. And in fact, in my neck of the woods, we picked up absolutely squat last night. We were in that corridor with no rainfall whatsoever, unfortunately, but it does look like some good accumulations are still possible. And again, with that cold front approaching the southwest capes this morning, I'm holding on for a little bit of rainfall, or the chance of a little bit of rainfall as we get out towards early this afternoon, so that might cause a bit of peak hour chaos this afternoon and evening as well. So make sure you are taking extra care on the roads. Again, rainfall not expected to be too heavy at any point. We're not expecting heavy falls to be unfolding across the Perth metro area. Isolated to widespread heavy falls are possible across the wheatbelt region though, with thunderstorms accompanying them, and it looks like on the backside of this low pressure system as well, we might be seeing a few showers into early tomorrow morning with some thundery showers as well, and possible small hailstones on the southwest capes extending between Augusta down towards Albany and Bremer Bay. Showers and thunderstorms clearing out pretty much completely through tomorrow afternoon and evening, and it looks like it's going to be a very cold start to Anzac Day across the southwest corner of Western Australia. Typically that's in fashion when we do see cold fronts moving through, and again have another cold start on Saturday by the looks of things across the southwest capes. Anyways, that is all that I have time for in today's forecast update. There's not any more to be talking about for me in the weather scene. Plenty of interesting stuff though. We're going to be kept busy with Queensland over the next 2 weeks or so by the looks of things, especially up in Far North Queensland. A lot of rainfall coming through up there, but that is all from me today. A special shout out, of course, to the channel sponsors. Their names are on screen right now, and I would also like to say a special thank you to everybody that has watched and subscribed over the last couple of months. It has been absolutely incredible, the support, and we're nearing in on 40,000 subscribers, so make sure you are subscribed if you haven't already. But that is all from me today, and I'll catch you all in the next storm. Goodbye.